Hello BookTube, it's Ben here from the History Fella channel. I have a book haul today, not a huge one, but some good books that have turned up today. I've got one from Anglo Publishing and the rest are from Pen and Swords, but they cover a number of different topics, so I'll be doing that. Firstly, if you'd like to support the channel, then you can support it at buymeacoffee.com/thehistoryfella. So if you want to support the channel, then just pop along and see that. You can have a look at the link below this video. But first book I've got today is from Anglo Publishing. It's quite a good book. It's called The Wild East: Gunfights, Massacres and Race Riots Far from America's Frontier. And that's written by Ian Herman, and that's the book published by Anglo Publishing. My copy here says it's $10.99. There is no American price on it, but you should be able to find this on Amazon if you're interested as well. From the back description it says, the newspaper, there's a newspaper quote here, says, an incredible action-packed account. The scene was set for a classic western showdown. On a dusty main street, a sheriff backed by townspeople faced down a gang of heavily armed, hired gunslingers. Tension rose, hard words were exchanged, and someone drew first. A few minutes later, 10 men were dead or dying, and several more suffered gunshot wounds. The hired guns, those that remained on their feet that is, fled. But this was no shootout in the Wild West of Wyoming or Montana, or South Dakota in the 1880s, or a Hollywood reimagining of such event. This was not Dodge City or Abilene. This was the West Virginia mining town of Matwan in 1920. By contrast, the more celebrated gunfight at the OK Corral in Tombstone lasted 30 seconds and left 3 dead, and Matwan was not an aberration. In the era of the post-Civil War Wild West, it can be argued that the most dangerous place to be was in the East. It was inevitability of violent outcome or massive social upheaval. Race wars with lynchings and massacres, heavily armed confrontation between infant trade unionization and the forces of capitalism, murderous feuds between corrupt lawmen and the early mafia. These were the confrontations in which the US government bombed and marginalised their own citizens. The law was twisted for private ends, and fake news became the norm. Ooh. So it sounds like an awful lot going on in that book. So it sounds like it's going to be a really good read. Right. This next book from Pen and Sword. This turned up on its own yesterday, and the reason for that is I've been asked to take part in a book tour review at the end of the month. So they want me to give this a read, and then give my opinions at the end of the month via my number of social media channels and help promote the book in the tour. This is Alexander the Great versus Julius Caesar. Who was the greatest commander in the ancient world? And that's been written by TV historian Simon Elliott. Alexander the Great versus Julius Caesar. Who was the greatest commander in the ancient world? The two most famous generals of the ancient world are pitted against each other, head to head. Dr. Simon Elliott tackles a favourite popular question: who was the greatest general, Alexander or Julius Caesar? The book contains detailed critical comparison of the military careers, achievements and skills of those two colossi, considers the military and political tools they had to work with, analysing their respective armies, their opposition, the strategic and tactical challenges they faced. A thoroughly researched, logically analysed and written in an engaging and accessible manner. So that's Alexander the Great versus Julius Caesar, and that's published by Pen and Sword Books. In the UK it's £25 and it's available in the US at $42.95. I'm looking forward to that book because I quite like the ones where you pit one person against the other and compare them. This one's some might find a bit boring, but I would find it quite an interesting one. Identifying cat badges, and that's written by Graham Bandy, A Family Historian's Guide. The reason most people would probably find it is just when you went to war, or you belonged to a particular regiment or squadron, they've all got their individual cat badges, and they're all different. And it's just generally a look at identifying all of those from the various regiments and comparing them in picture form. And there are so many, because obviously as you go through time there are various regiments that come along, and there's often 2 or 3 or even 4 or 5 or 6 of them, and they've all got their individual recognition badges, and in this case cat badges. And for the family historian, if you're doing research and you've got lots of photographs and unnamed photographs, you can often tell the person or narrow down the search by looking at their badges on their uniform or their cat badges. So you can often learn quite a bit from very little information. And it was actually, I think it was about November time, I read I got the books on my shelf, Badges of the Regular Infantry, 1914 to 1918, which was really interesting. And you can really tell a lot just by a photograph and find out so much more information. So I read that one before, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Right, the next one is Faces of the Home Front. That's written by Neil R. Story and Fiona Kay. This revolves around the people who were on the home front in the Second World War. Remarkable collections of many previously unpublished original photographs of people and events during the Second World War. The photographs and text chart changing clothing styles for men and women through the days of make, do and mend, knitted wonders and wedding days. There are home front uniforms from the Home Guard to air raid wardens, land girls to ambulance drivers, all accompanied by a narrative containing a host of lesser known and often moving stories of ordinary British people on the home front. And that's going to be good because it's about the people that don't get recognised in war. There's going to be very little about the generals, the colonels, the not ordinary soldiers. This is all about the families and the people that were keeping Britain going back in the Second World War on the home front. So that's going to be good. And it's always nice to read the stories because there's always something new. And the last book, another book in a series, because I've read the medieval version of this. Royal Mysteries of the Anglo Saxon and Early Britain, and that's written by Timothy Venning, published by Pen and Sword Books, and that's £25 or $42 if you're in America. I think it was Timothy Venning that wrote the medieval version, I'm pretty sure. But it was certainly a good read, that one, so I'm expecting this one to be just as good, hopefully. I'll read you a little bit from the back. Cerdic, founder Saxon of Wessex, but with a Celtic name. Mercia, kingdom of the frontier and inspiration of Tolkien's Rohan. Northumbria, the northern frontier and an Anglican state and strongest kingdom. The Picts, Celtic or British, ruled by royal monarchy. Alfred the Great, Eardid the Elder and England's unity. Edward the Martyr, England's forgotten royal saint, and Edmund Ironside's death in Canute's coup. William I, legitimate or false claim to the throne. So basically they're all statements or questions on the back. Some of them are a little bit odd, or a little hard to read or pronounce, but then often early English and early Britain it was. I haven't flipped through this book yet, but it looks like each chapter revolves around a mystery and a couple of questions of that particular chapter. So that's going to be quite a varied read and quite good to read. Might take me a few days with it being Anglo-Saxon and early Britain. But there we go, that's the last one. I don't remember on this book, I'm not sure I mentioned the price or the publisher, but this is Pen and Sword Books, Identifying Cat Badges, and that retails at £25 or $49. But there we go, that's all the books I've got so far. I can't think of any others that might have come. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, found some of the books interesting. Again, if you'd like to support the channel, then please feel free to visit my Buy Me a Coffee page, and the link will be below this video. It's at buymeacoffee.com/thehistoryfella. Other than that, I hope you're all safe and well. If you've got any comments, especially if any comments about the books, then please drop them down below this video and I'll happily answer all of them. But thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time.